All righty. All right. Good evening once again, podcast folks, and those out there on Facebook. Once again, time for another episode of Things My Mother Never Told Me. Tanya, say hey.
Hey everybody, glad you can listen in.
Right. We're back again with another episode. We got some special friends on here. We're going to talk about some good things they're doing in the community. So y'all sit back and relax. We're going to read your bios, and then we're going to get into asking these questions.
Ooh, okay.
All right. We have Dianne Martin, who's the president of Wishing Well Development, Inc. Joining her is Dr. Robert L. Bryant Sr. He's the co-founder and supporter. And we're gonna say a little things about the Wishing Well the Wishing Well program. It is a nonprofit 501c3, a comprehensive grief counseling program. The program focuses on working with grieving children and family members who are coping with loss and separation of significant loved ones in their lives due to illness, accidental death, murder, traumatic causes, and violence. And she is a school psychologist, and along with Dr. Robert Ellie, he has a doctorate of education degree. He began his public school career in Highland Park, Michigan. He was an elementary, middle school, and high school principal. Currently, he is the president of the CEO of Global Vision Management Group LLC, and it's a Detroit-based consulting company specializing in team building, leadership development, and assisting schools achieve proficiency. He is an active member of this grief counseling program. Uh, Diane's background: she was a school psychologist with the Detroit Public Schools. She was in an excellent position to observe and discuss with other professionals, the speech therapist, the nurse, the school social worker, circumstances in a child's life that may impact his or her social, mental development, and lifetime skills and education. Many of these children and students were observed displaying anger, impulsivity, sadness, poor academic performance, periods of crying, sleeping in class, delayed communication skills that were interfering with their school success. The counseling is based on helping children and family members develop coping skills and strategies to address the enormity of grieving and recovery.
All right.
All right, let's get into it.
All right.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome. That's the abbreviated version. You guys got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff that you've done. So what I want to start with first is we always talk about our guest education, and so we go back. So we ask, where did you go to high school? That's what I want to focus on right quick. Each one of you.
Okay. Well, I started high school at Tuskegee. It was Tuskegee High because I'm from Tuskegee.
All right.
Tuskegee, Alabama. And I did my elementary and middle school education experience in Tuskegee.
Okay.
High school, I was there up until I did the 8th through the 10th grade. And then I moved to New York with an older sister. And I did my 11th and 12th year at Julia Richmond High School in New York.
Okay.
All right.
How about you?
Oh, well, I went to high school in Greensboro, Alabama. Now, that is a small town 50 miles south of Tuscaloosa. Have you heard of Tuscaloosa, Alabama?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's where I went to my elementary 1 through 6th through 7th grade, 8th grade rather, was in New Bern, Alabama. Now, that's a little smaller town, just 9 miles south of Greensboro. Therefore, I had to catch the bus to school. I caught the bus from New Bern to Greensboro, Alabama, where I went to high school. And if I missed that bus, I had to walk 9 miles to school. And you believe me, my brother and I, we missed it a couple of times. And my dad and my mom say, well, start walking.
I know we
So-
had to pamper princess and princess.
Right. So you one of those people that were able to tell the kids that story about how far you had to walk to school.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's good. But we always like to focus on that. And I see that you were educated in the Highland Park School District.
Well, no, I was educated, you know, from
No.
what
I
just told
mean, you taught in Highland Park.
Oh, yes. In 1970, I started teaching 8th grade social studies in 1970 in Highland Park.
Okay.
And for 5 years, I taught. In 1975, I was promoted to assistant principal. And coming forward all the way up until I retired, I was an administrator in elementary, middle school, and high school in 3 different cities.
Okay.
Highland Park, Flint Beecher,
Okay.
and Flint, as well as retiring my last 7 years in K-12, Detroit Public School, as I was principal of Loving Elementary School on the North End.
Okay. Yeah, I asked you that because we had a couple guests on here who are products of Highland Park. So they were educated in Highland Park, and you know, they are in their 40s, I guess.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I thought you might have crossed paths with him. I don't know.
Definitely, because he's a film director.
Yeah, one of them's a film director. He does movies now. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, and so I thought that was interesting. That's why
I probably know them or know the family, or may have had the children in school in Highland Park.
Right. And I got some relatives that live there too. So let's jump into this, because you both have extensive degrees, and first Robert, let me thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Because you know you were there at a time when it wasn't popular to be there.
Absolutely, you're right. You're welcome.
Right. Okay, so what I want to start out, Dianne, tell us how Wishing Well came about, and how you two hooked up to start, because I guess the two of you started it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is that when I came on board and started working with the Detroit Public Schools, at that time, and it still is that way, we would be, I'm saying the school psychologists, also the social workers, we would be assigned to 3 to 4 schools. Okay? And so Loving Elementary School was one of the schools. I also was at Post Middle School. And then it was Henry Ford High School. But the majority of my time was spent at Loving Elementary, and also at that time, I just mentioned the school. I'll come back to it. Just attributed to my maturity. But anyway, we would do IEPs, for example, but at that time also the psychological services, our supported service program, there was a program in which we did behavior evaluation intervention. Okay. And in that particular program, not only did we just go into the schools to do assessments, to do testing, and to help to place students, but there were students that would present during our meetings that there were other issues. There were some other concerns that would show. And we began to look a little more careful, because it was like, oh, behavior problems. This child is not, or this student is not ready or prepared to be in school. And
so that's when you call Robert. So that's when you call Robert.
Yeah,
that's right. And listen, we work hard to not to include him in his principalship role and manner with these kids. We try real hard to listen to their voices,
right,
and to look at, again, I said, other areas that may impact and influence their full attention, and sometimes their concentration, quote unquote, their whining, whatever,
right.
These are the things that you sort of say is characteristic of kids or characteristic of that age, and you just move on. You just,
right.
Put the rules back. put the
You
rules.
may want to, Ms. Martin, you mentioned so the public will know and our host will know that what the IEP stands for. You mentioned, to conduct IEP. So anyway, if you individual education placement, that's what that acronym stands for. Go proceed, Ms. Martin.
Okay, thank you. He's still the principal, okay? but anyway, and so some of these cases, and the teachers would come in and share and whatever, but we began to hear some of the students or some of the children that was referred in both it's post middle school was the school too, that would come with the teachers or the principal would come with the issues. And so I was very fortunate to be working with the school nurse who also had received grief counseling as part of their program from Henry Ford Hospital. And we began to talk and look at some of the behavior of the children to see whether or not there was some other things that were occurring.
Right.
And so then we began to listen to some of the parents who would call the school and say, well, their child would not be in school for the next 3 days, or they were out for a week. And it's like, well, what is going on? Well, there had been a death in the family, for example, or there had been some type of situation in which maybe one of the parents had got involved in a legal issue, or it might have been a situation in which in the community there was some type of disturbance and the family had to leave that community and go to another community. Now they were settled there, then they would get back with the school to the rest of the thing. And occasionally you would hear kids not getting along with each other on the playground or in the hallway or classroom. And if you were at Dr. Bryant's school, he was not going to have that.
Okay, here we go.
And so he would call them in or really respond to them right on the spot. And he would say, okay, I got social work, got the psychologist. Okay, come in and let's discuss and see what's happening with these particular children. And that was such an entrance for us to really to look at some of these behavior circumstances that may have been attributed to issues like loss issues. And some of the students really, they have parents not only that might be separated because they were in jail or incarcerated, but also there were cases in which there was divorces that was going on too.
Yeah, that's
and
impactful.
so all of these things will impact on a child just being able to have a happy day, or to be able to settle into school, show the attention and concentration that's needed. So, in interviewing some of the kids, just sitting down and talking with them, we began to pinpoint putting together a program and putting together a support program for the teachers, the janitors, the kitchen, cafeteria helpers, because a lot of times they would see kids coming through the line, or they would see kids in the school and they would speak to them and say, how you doing? What's going on? And a lot of times they would say, well, my grandmother died and I'm sad. Okay.
Okay. Let me stop it right there. Dr. Bryant, you were about to say something?
Yeah, I'm going to augment some of what Ms. Martin said in terms of the origin of Wishing Well. One of the things that I, as a leader, have always believed in is the concept of wraparound approach to educating children. And that's what Ms. Martin just described with the parents and the cooks, the janitors, the nurses, the psychologists. All the people play a major role in educating children once they hit that building. And That's number one. Number two, and instead of suspending kids as soon as maybe some staff member may get upset and want them out of school and think the administrator should go immediately suspending them, I looked at it as saying, well, the cause. What caused this? What's caused it? And how can we deal with anything to correct the behavior short of suspension? Right. And that's where we began, Ms. Martin and I began to collaborate and to come up with a program that could be supported by the staff, community, and our business partners. That's how Wishing Well came about. Okay. And it was widely accepted 100%. And we began to develop a schedule, put a schedule together when we would meet and discuss various issues pertaining to the children and the school environment.
Okay. Okay. Now this is what I want to do, because what I've discovered listening to the two of you is that if you are willing, I want to have each one of you back on here individually, because and we're going to talk just about your career, what you did, how you delve into what you did before you both retired, before you retire, because I hear a lot of good stuff that we won't be able to get deep into that and still talk about, the main thing we came on to talk about, because I'm listening to some real good stuff here from both of you. And, and we want to talk about this Wishing Well thing as much as we can today. So so let's figure out, after we finish this, I'll get in contact with you both and we'll figure out a day for each one of you to come back individually. Because you got some powerful stories that I'm hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, we all about children. We definitely all about our future.
Right.
Right. Well, so you want to go right to the core of what we do and been doing for the past 20 years?
Yes, let's do that.
Well, I'm going to highlight, and Ms. Martin, feel free to interject and come in, scratch, whatever.
You move. Yeah. Something's happening to your volume. Are you your device?
How about now?
Moving? Yeah, that's good. But are you don't hold on to your device because it's moving, it's shaking.
Okay.
Well,
all right. How about that?
The only thing that I want to just say is that grief counseling is a specific and specialized approach and theory that address not only, individuals, period. In our case, because we're in the school system, it was easy access to children and to work to develop programs around that particular issue. So it took some listening, it took some training, it took some workshops, it took some reading for us also to be able to develop the program concept so that everyone would buy into it. And we would look at some critical areas of the child experience that also was impacted on their growth and development, and how they themselves would learn how to cope and live through some of the traumatic situations they were exposed to.
All right. Let me say this to you. Are you free next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday is like the third Wednesday.
Yes.
At what time?
Same time.
Okay, I only asked because of
I know you got stuff going on.
Optimus Zoom meeting and what else? Oh my God, what is?
Okay, so we'll talk offline.
We'll talk. We'll do it.
We'll talk offline.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so because I want to really get into that grief counseling thing. That's a real big deal, especially what we're coming out of this past year. It's a real big deal.
Yes.
So let's get to the Wishing Well. Say celebrating 20 years.
Yes. October 1 of last year was our 20th year, because we started with adding workshops within our departments, in which we would meet at the school. And so the social workers, the psychologists, sometimes the speech consultant, anyone that came into the schools would be, they would learn too. They would learn that program and the direction that we wanted to go to reach the kids, and also to receive the trust of their parents or grandparents that we will be following their protocol. Because we would find that sometimes parents would not, they would not allow the children to go to the funeral home or the service. They were protective of the kids.
Right.
Sometimes the children were sent to school a week or a week and a half later. Then we would have them sent to school. The teachers would have to bring them up to the skills level that they've missed. So it was an approach to include the whole family. That whole
Okay.
concept.
Exactly. Exactly. If I could, if you would allow me just list some topics, or events or activities that Ms. Martin and I collaborated on this week. Each one of these items I go down has an educational component. And I'll just list them, and you can, Ms. Martin, elaborate on the educational component of each one. First of all, and this was all within the last 20 years, you know, we've taken them on a trip to Chicago. We've taken them to the Shinola factory in Detroit, Flint Science Center in Flint, Frankenmuth, Tiffany Mix Factory, Charles Wright Museum, the Science Center, Detroit Institute of Art, Downtown All Day Tour, Wayne State University, known as hosts a restaurant on Livernois, which hosts our children and families for breakfast and dinner throughout the year at no charge. Christmas Memorial celebration, in which we have a memorial every year for the children, and give them tall handbags filled with new gifts, not less than 9 new items in each bag. And back to school supplies and rally, Oktoberfest, memorial balloon releasing.
Wonderful.
So those are just some of the things we do. So Ms. Martin, if you like, if you all want to ask a question of each one of those items in terms of education component, Ms. Martin is ready to go.
You know, the thing, and Dr. Bryant mentioned it earlier, is that we look at the holistic experience of the child.
Right.
And a lot of time, those activities that he shared, we worked very hard to put that together over the summer months too.
Right.
Because the children very often was not as, they weren't coming to school every day. And some of the kids didn't go to summer school, but all too often they were experiencing losses.
Yes.
And so we were also looking at ways to get them out of some of that environment in which, you know, we've had situations, we know of situations in which, you know, unfortunate fathers was attacked, killed right in front of the children. And so, but they have to stay there. They're there in that community. So part of grieving is also experience the release, being able to release for the repeated triggers and common things that happen that the children, and a lot of times the adults too, they relive, and they get stuck in the sadness, the emptiness, and the pain of it all. So what we attempted to do, and we've been very, very successful, and that's because we've had an extreme amount of volunteers to help us in those institutions that Dr. Bryant mentioned. Once we tell our story and the goal that we have, they invite us. They would set up arrangements. We've gone to Wayne State University almost every year.
All
And
right, all right.
the director of community and relationship services have been there to help us. Individuals who are in the career development department, they would receive, the students would go, just as an example, they would sit there and have lunch. I would get tickets for them to go to the cafeteria and to be on college campus. So we started naming that experience our visit, our day at the college, because we also wanted to encourage them to ask questions and to say, this is part of my journey to go to college, on a college campus.
What are the age ranges?
Most of the kids started, they're middle school, although there may be families of earlier age, but we would say fifth grade, until middle school, and then the high school, the students.
Oh, okay.
And you might want to also take notice that when, as Ms. Martin was talking about the Wayne State experience and the lunch and sitting down having lunch together, the officials that helped us with it, they would assign some college students to sit and have lunch with the students. They tell them about their experience in college and what would they would ask questions. What would you like to do when you get into 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th, 12th grade? And that way, that would give them some insight of not just visiting the physical campus, but also the intellectual part of it in terms of going higher in their career.
Right.
So, and those students, even though they were in college, you were only talking about an average, probably maybe 7-8 years difference between the ages.
Right.
They were eager to listen to them.
Right. They close. So a couple questions. On average, how many students do you normally have opportunity to interact with on these ventures, on these trips, these educational journeys?
Okay.
It varies. Sometimes when we went to Chicago, for example, we had 18 kids we took with us. 18. And by the way, none of these activities we charge the students or their parents. We raise money through fundraising, our major golf tournament that's come up, our annual golf tournament, donations. They don't have to pay a dime.
Okay. And go ahead.
Well, what we would do, for example, that trip to we went to Toledo we went to the zoo, we went to the museum there, and the trip to Chicago was on the train. So what we would do for trips, and we went to various places outside, we would pay the school buses. We would go on the school buses for those trips. And of course, Dr. Bryant would arrange in that case for us to get funds through his school program to pick up the students. Okay, so that's why we would do that. And then for the Chicago trip, for example, there was a program that was also a part of the Detroit Public Schools, dealing with group rates and and for educational type of tours and visits, we were able to go that route too.
Okay.
And sometimes for short trips, if we didn't have the money to secure a school bus, that we would go out in our pocket, or we'll get Lennon, who worked for Chrysler at that time, to help us in whichever way he could to get an extra van or two.
Okay. Right. I got. Yeah, that's all right. Put him on the spot. I got another question, and then I want us to get into this fundraising thing too, because we want to talk about that. Do you have an opportunity you've been doing this for 20 years? Have you had the opportunity to revisit with some of the youth that have come through the program?
Yes, in fact, I was sharing with Dr. Bryant. I was over in the North End last last week. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
last
fact,
week.
it was on a Saturday, and I had gone to the Easter Market, and so on my way back, there were two students that live pretty much across the street from the school, and so I stopped in. This was maybe the second time over the years that I had stopped in, and I would speak with the mother. And so, but both of the young people were there. And so I stopped in and I knocked on the door. They came, and the first thing they would say, "Oh, Mrs. Martin." And I said, "Hi, how you guys doing?" The female graduated last year from Central,
Okay.
and she went, although it was virtual, she got accepted into Oakland Community College. She was
Okay.
there. All right. Her brother is in the 10th grade, and he continued to be in the 10th grade, and he has some challenges, so he's still in place and working through that. It's really good. And one of the things that the female student said, she right away, she looked at me, she said, "Miss Martin, are you all still doing that program? Are you still doing the Wish Your Well program?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "I just want to know because I want to volunteer."
All right.
All right.
Beautiful.
So we have then we have some students that are working because I volunteer at oh, all right, Fox.
All right.
And one day I was going in for my assignment, and she's working there. She's full time. I'm volunteering, and she called my name. And I'm looking around, and that was like one of the students. And then she got on the phone and connected me with 2 or 3 other students.
Okay.
Because we have one student too that we followed. That graduated from CAS, and then she was in the ROTC.
Okay.
Now she's in a career with the is it Marines, Dr. Brian, that I said, but anyway, she's in the military. And so we have there's several others. And so for
Very
our
good. Very
20th
good.
year anniversary, I've already told them that we're going to have a special program, and we want to keep in touch with them, and we want them to come. So
Okay.
we do see them, and if they see me and they hello, Miss Martin, we talk everything. The very next person
Okay.
that's for is Dr. Bryant.
Right.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask too, how did the kids get into the program? Are they
Well,
through a referral system.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Martin. Go
yeah,
ahead.
that's pretty much because within the school, sometimes we had situations, and it continued to be, in which the parents would call and let the principal or the office know that there's been a death. And so with that information will be recorded, and information will be given that we do have a grief and loss program here.
Okay.
And we were more than happy to include your child,
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good.
and we get the parents, we have a form for the parents to sign for them to participate,
Okay.
because in a lot of cases we were holding our group counseling activities, and our sometimes peer counseling program, like at the middle school, after school. So we always had to, make sure that parents are included, and the parents give out.
Right.
Yeah, when we started the program 21 years ago, to my knowledge, up until 2005, maybe a little later than that, we had the only grief and loss program in Detroit public school system.
Okay.
We had the only, And I really don't believe they may have it today, where it may not be called a grief and loss program like ours called, but address the same thing. Yeah. The goals are the same. Yeah. But we've trained, Ms. Martin did mention professional work development workshop. She and I together have trained, held a workshop for over 100 different professionals, nurses, doctors, other administrators, teachers, counsel, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And they want to know how we got started as well. And fast forwarding, there we get calls all the time. And Ms. Martin mentioned running into different individuals at the grocery store, the supermarket, church, wherever, want to know how can they sign their grandchild up, or, their niece or nephew. We have to tell them, we don't have the capacity to it's not open like that. We work with 3 different schools and some selected institution outside of the schools, basically on an individual basis. But we don't have the capacity, now the funds to address all the different other people. Right.
Because I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, but what I will say though, and what Dr. Bryant said is so true, and so we work. We put together small grants like for Skillman, Youth Field Foundation, and really it was through Dr. Bryant and his position and his collaboration with those resources in the community that we were able to get funds sometimes to do our summer program. We also we were so fortunate and blessed to have one of our golfers, and she's been golfing with us ever since, who worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield. And so we had those foot soldiers out there also that could bring. Let me just fast forward and say to you, because I think one of the questions that you were asking or about to ask, Damon, was that how many students are you able to help or serve? Right. 2019, I'm just going to give you an example. Over at one of our middle schools, in which there was 11 to 1,200 students. We ended up that year with 291 students. Wow. Being referred to the Wish and Well program. Wow. And so
that's just in one school.
At one school.
In one school, yeah.
And again, we would work with the teachers, and we would have literature available. We would do doing professional staff meeting the time, because remember, both of us are retired, right? Outside of us, and we would go in each school year, and we would talk about the Wish and Well program and the benefits of it, and how we would work not only with the individual student, but a lot of times they're the students themselves. Let's say the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, they may also have little sisters and brothers who were in the 2nd grade or the 3rd grade or 4th grade. And sometimes we had family members, students, who we would provide similar service to their whole state. Wonderful. And so through volunteers, through the help of the school, the principals and assistant principal, allowing us the opportunity to work and to do group work. And also we've had students from places like Wayne State and Eastern who were doing their practicum to contact and assist in what we do.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
It's almost like a full-time job. But
it sounds like it, but that's why we retire, so we can get a full-time job doing our passion. And so what I want to do, so we get time for it. And I'll just say this, because currently, right now, I went back to school, and right now, the class I'm in is a psychology class. It's called interviewing skills. So it
wonderful.
right talks about interviewing, you know, clients and dealing with all the stuff that you guys have just been talking about.
Mhm.
Right, right.
So that's why I really want to have you individually back on it so we could devote
Okay.
an entire show, because we only have so much time, to each one of you to
Okay.
talk about your background, what you do, how you did it, and how it's, you know, how it moves forward in our community, because this is, I'm
Okay.
telling you, this is intriguing to me.
And,
So
Okay.
the thing too is that grief is hard to talk about.
yes,
Anyone.
anyway,
And with the children, with the younger children that we work with, we hardly ever came together as a group. And I would have nice little pretty boxes all over with either Kleenex or in the beginning, we always had a shoebox.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we would work to design our shoebox and work. And I'm saying this is because a lot of times grief is hard. It's hard to talk about. The
Right,
experience is hard to talk about. But we learn how to integrate um, talking by doing.
right,
The kids could draw, or the kids can they could bring their father favorite hat or something
okay,
and
Okay.
make it hard. We bring the grief out by bringing it close and giving them a safe
right.
environment of caring and listening.
Yeah.
Amen.
Okay, Diane, let me
Amen.
stop you right there, because
Okay.
you messing up our next show.
Thank you.
You giving away too much. You giving
Okay.
away too much.
That's
Yeah.
You're giving
Yeah.
away too
We
much.
gotta get to this
okay. You
fundraiser.
talk
Right,
about
right. We want I want all that good stuff. I want all that good stuff, but I want to devote the show to that.
okay.
To
Okay.
that, because you got a lot of good stuff. I'm telling you, you got a lot of good stuff,
Yes, both have.
and I know you're passionate about it because it keeps coming out.
I
I know you're passionate about it.
See, you right. You right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, because it's your passion, and so you can't help but talk about it. You can't help but do it.
All right then, Dr. Brown, why don't you tell us about the golf outing that's coming up?
Yeah.
Well, July 10th, we expect to have anywhere from 95 to 100 golfers.
Okay.
We are still looking for support, both in terms of volunteering to help us or donating. And the cost of the golf outing is $100.
Okay.
With that, it'll be, usually we have a face-to-face luncheon up until before the pandemic.
Right.
We would have a sit-down luncheon in a program which we would highlight wishing well activities for the participants. But this time and last year and this year, we'll have lunch bags for them.
Okay.
So at the end of 9, and we play 18 holes. So at the end of the 9th hole, they will come in and to the registration desk, and they will pick up a nice lunch, a box lunch.
Right.
And we also give them a nice bag of gifts items.
Okay.
In each bag is usually sleeves, a ball, pivot. You call them what? Pivot.
Divot repair tools.
Yeah.
And we give them some fruit or candy or a cap or a T-shirt or some other item. We give them nice gifts.
Okay, then where we playing?
July the 10th, Saturday, July 10th.
What course?
Crystal Lake in Pontiac.
Okay.
Yeah. For those that don't know, former Pontiac Municipal.
Yeah. And
Right. That's
Let
right.
me just say this. It's like our 15th year of doing the golf outing. And the first person you guys, you may know, Dana, you may know, was Herb Black.
Mm-hmm.
Herb helped us to put together our first golf outing.
Okay.
With Romeo, Dr. Bryant.
And Romeo.
Okay.
And we took the kids. We went one Saturday. Then we turned around before school was over, and we took, I think it was about 25 students with some golfers, and they went back and they practiced, and they drove around the course and everything. So we want to create an educational experience also in terms of, how what I'm thinking and how I can be happy and get the best out of my life as a young person, and to practice that.
Yeah.
Certainly there's grief, there's hurt, there's pain, but we don't want them to focus on their losses or the pain or the trauma to a point that it impaired them to being happy and healthy young people. And,
Okay.
and
we go.
again, the thinking is that you don't have to become what you've been exposed to.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right.
That's
That's right.
Beyond that.
That's
See,
right.
listen, we work really hard with the golf island. I mean, we have the raffles. We have 50-50 raffles. We have raffles of baskets. We have people who donate items to us to be able to share with our golfers. And we've found that when we give, we also receive. And so
Amen.
when I'm talking about golfing, and I've learned and I appreciate it. So I talk with one group, I do this and do that. I really enjoy it, and I like it, and I'm learning a lot.
Okay, hopefully through this broadcast we can bring some more
Right.
fundraising to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Well, the golfing community in Metro Detroit is pretty tight knit.
It's pretty, yes.
So a lot of folks know each other, and
Right.
and so hopefully, if not this year, because this will be up as long as it's up. When we post it, it'll be up as long as I'm still a subscriber to the service.
Okay,
So
sure.
it'll be available for people to see, so they can. So how would they get in contact with someone if they wanted to try to participate as a golfer this year,
Okay.
as well as make a donation?
Okay, super. Well, what they can do, they can email me, and my email address, which is DIANN, the number 20, the word pearls, PEARLS, at yahoo.com. I also have a cell phone number, which is 248-376-2906. Now,
Why don't you repeat that, Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Say it slow, just in case you're recording.
Yeah.
okay. So my email address is DIANN, the number 20, the word pearls, PEARLS, at yahoo.com. And then my cell phone number is 248-376-2906.
Okay.
I will mail, I will deliver. We have flyers to you. Anything that can be done to outreach you that we have not put in place, contact me and we'll make it happen.
Let me ask you a question. What is that shirt you have on?
Now just be careful. I am a member of a sorority.
Yeah, I know.
And Kamala Harris is also a member of the
All right then.
It's like is that last year I made 50 years as an Alpha Kappa Alpha.
All right, congratulations.
I pledged at Tuskegee. At that time it was Tuskegee Institute. Now it's Tuskegee University. So that's what that is all about.
Yeah,
Okay,
I thought I'd throw that out there,
Yeah.
just in case some of your sisters might be listening.
Oh yes. And listen, we're going to, you have a few minutes. Hopefully, we'll let Dr. Bryant throw out his plug.
That's right.
He-
That was
he
my
can do-
next
he
call.
can do it right now.
He can do it right now.
Because you got your wishing well golf outing shirt
Yeah,
on.
I got my wishing well golf club because I knew it was going to be all about wishing well. I could have easily put on my Kappa hat too. So I'm a Kappa. I'm a 50-year plus Kappa.
All right.
Matter of fact,
Both of y'all.
Well-
All right.
55 years I've been in the fraternity, Kappa
Okay.
Alpha Psi fraternity.
All right.
And I've never been not a full financial member
Okay.
and,
All right.
and active participant.
That's
Okay.
what they need.
Yeah, because
That's what they need.
our very first guest is a Kappa.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah. The very first guest we had on the show.
Oh, I know.
Who was it?
Dr. Craig Esther, Reverend Dr. Craig Esther over at New Prospect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize he was a Kappa.
Yeah, he's a Kappa.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was our very first guest.
Wow, that's beautiful. Good to hear that.
And you know, the thing too is that because of organizations in the community, organizations that we're affiliated with, people that hear about the grief counseling program and the children, or they see the kids out in the community when we're out with them and they ask questions, those become our supporters too.
Yes.
So we support them, they support us, and
right.
it really, and we've gone outside of, you know, our organization and community of folks, employers, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't mind asking repeatedly, although sometimes members and even folks like Dr. Bryant would say I beg a lot.
That's all right.
I just
that's her.
That's to help them, the kids, you know. That's all that's about. And we have fun. We really
we really do. One of our supporters is really funny because he's a strong supporter too. But anyway, he has this joke about Ms. Martin. He say, Dr. Bryant, listen, I turned the other way because I saw Ms. Martin coming because she'll pick my pocket. She'll pick my pocket.
That's right. But if you come to the outing and you participate and you donate to the various fundraising activities, you might walk away with a little something extra for yourself.
Oh yeah.
I can say that as one who has done so.
Well, we want it to be fun. We want people to enjoy themselves. And you know, sometimes you hear situations that, you know, you go to a meeting or something or a cause, because I'm also a part of this women group against poverty.
Here we go.
and then with that, and then, you know, which is with my sorority, and Dr. Bryant probably has had the same experience, because we have so many community service activities. You may go to a meeting, and when you come out of the meeting, you might not have any checks left, or you might, if you had something to donation back. So, you know, it's the caring and the kindness. And if we can do something to just take away from
make people's lives better.
Yes.
Well, listen. I'm a Mason, so I know all about.
Oh yeah, okay.
I know all about a hand constantly in your pocket.
Oh yeah, you absolutely right, boy.
Okay, so this is what I want to do, because we getting to the end of our time.
Okay.
But I would be remiss if I didn't ask you both this question and give us a quick answer as you can to the question, because we asked all our guests this question, and Dianne, you and I talked about this. The title of this podcast is Things My Mother Never Told Me. Okay. And so we always ask our guests, is there something that you've discovered in your journeys that your mother never told you? You know, not that she was a bad mother, but she just never had opportunity to, or for whatever reason, she just didn't tell you that you discovered, and you think, wow, if I'd only had opportunity to know that. So Dianne, we'll start with you.
You know, one thing, I don't want to sound sort of downward, or I don't know, sort of.
You won't.
Depressed with this, but I thought about that because you did share with me. That was the question. And what I can honestly say is that I lost my mom when I was, what did I say? 15. Okay. And but this has been my experience, that the spirit and the guidance of my mom has been with me. I mean, with me even now.
Yes.
And so that is that case. this, I, I, I talked to a friend of mine who, she's a social worker, but she also, I knew that she had lost her mom years ago, and I just assumed that she had lost her mom, around about the time that I had. But she told me, and I asked her, well, what is something that you didn't ask your mom that you wanted? She said, I, I didn't ask. I don't know because my mom passed away when I was 3.
Mm.
And so
Oh,
now
okay.
I have a different click on, but um, I guess I didn't ask my mom, and I could not ask my mom anything about relationships,
Okay.
Mhm.
That's
or having like
yeah.
having someone, a girl like girl and talk like
Yeah.
Mhm.
search around and find out things about that. Now, my mom had 11 kids. I don't think I wanted to know too much.
Yeah, yeah. Cause
But
she cause she could have told you some
she could
stories.
have told me. She could have told me. But yeah, she her spirit and her guidance.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's
uh,
good. Because
uh,
because there is no wrong or bad answer to this question.
yeah.
Absolutely none.
Yes.
And so Dr. Bryant, you have a answer to that?
Oh,
Well, my mother passed at 52 years old. She was passed. The last 3 years of her life she spent with me here in Detroit,
Okay.
taking her in and out of the hospital. But before that, uh, before I even finished high school, my mom and I it was 6 of us. I'm next to the oldest. And we were very close. I was very close to my mom. Matter of fact, people used to call me mama's boy.
Mhm.
That's right.
To me, that was an honor.
That's an
I was
honor. That's a
fine.
good
I
thing.
love my mother,
That's right.
and one of the things I would say she didn't tell me, she didn't tell me how many people I was related to.
Oh, don't throw me under the table.
I think she died in 1978. I think I'm still finding cousins.
well, now you say that. My mother died. My mother died and I tell you the reason why I came with this title is that when trying to figure out what I wanted to do for podcast, I knew I wanted to do something that kind of connected people to opportunities and to people who are
Sure.
doing things in the community. And so it was, like good things that could happen, all these names that were already taken.
Right.
And we visited my mother's gravesite last year, which was the first time I had ever went since she died. She died in 1985,
Mhm.
2 months before we got married.
oh,
Really?
Yeah, and
Wow.
while I was driving home from the gravesite, it occurred to me that from 1985 to 2020,
uh-huh.
so much had happened that
Right,
she couldn't have possibly told me about
Right.
because it happened after she died.
right.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's where the title came from. Is just me reminiscing and realizing that so much has happened that she didn't have a chance to share with me. But
Oh,
That's nice.
had somebody had a notion to call me that, they would have called me a mama's boy too. I was with her till she died.
Mhm.
That's great, and so
okay.
was I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll share this with you. I actually performed CPR on her. She had a heart attack.
Oh,
Really?
I had come home from work and was sleeping, and my sister was screaming out, and I had to come running down. My mother had a heart attack, and I was trying to revive
oh,
her.
wow.
Oh
So
my goodness.
Don't we
so
all have a story? I mean,
Yes, we do.
we all
Yeah.
got
Yes, we do.
we all got a story, and that's the beauty. That's what this podcast is all about, is us sharing our stories, and
Right.
showing that there's a chance for each of us to be what we want to be,
right,
to
Right.
do what we want to do, as
right,
long as we don't give up.
right,
That's right.
right.
Exactly.
Right.
Help somebody.
Help somebody.
That's right.
And so
And,
that,
Right.
and in a clinical way, we always use what we get stuck. We get
uh-huh.
stuck
Yeah.
in a place and time.
Yes.
You don't grow.
Yeah.
Right.
And I often have had friends, still have some of my colleagues or friends who said, Brian, look like you're working more now since you've been retired than you when you retired. He said, why you keep doing it? I said, because it's gratifying. It's
Yes.
gratifying to see the children smile. It's gratifying to
Right.
think and that you are lifting somebody's burden by
Yes.
sharing
Mhm.
and giving of yourself. I said,
Ooh.
that's why.
Don't
I
make me
said, we
shout.
Miss Martin and I, we don't get paid for this. No,
Right.
we don't get paid for it. But and when you're talking about money, but we get paid in terms of we've been blessed and we're giving back.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a continuation of giving back. That's
Right.
why.
That's right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right.
That is right. And you know, I always tell people I retired because it was getting in the way, work was getting in the way of me doing what I needed to do.
What you wanted to do.
Right. And not only wanted what I needed to do.
What we needed
Right.
to do,
Work
yeah.
was in the way. All work did was provide us with insurance, where we found out we got that in retirement without for the same cost, nothing.
Right.
It provided us with insurance and it funded our style of living. And
Exactly.
And if you do it right, retirement will do the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're grateful for that.
You're grateful.
We're grateful for it.
Grateful.
Yeah, and gratitude is part of
Yes.
dealing with life in general, and also it's connected to grief and loss, the gratitude and the meaning behind your experience.
Yes.
Mhm.
Deeply rooted in, no, I didn't choose this, I didn't plan this, to happen. It happened, and there's a process that I'm going through, I've gone through, and I can direct, I can help, I can support others to go.
Right.
In 2019, I'm just going to share that. I pulled this out because I keep a lot of articles. Rochelle Riley, part of her articles, it was quite a bit. In the Detroit Free Press, she wrote about children in crisis, and she said counselors feel the effects of helping kids.
Yes.
And I guess that's what that with the Wishing Well program
Yes.
and with other endeavors that you, your wife participated in too, is that we might not have experienced it quite the way that they do, but there's something about engagement with them and working with them, planning for them, directing them, supporting them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
Just loving people. Like the Lord say, just love one another.
Okay.
Right. and so what I want to do is
I
that,
pray too to just love more.
that's right. So what I want to do is, again, I want to talk with you, each of you, after we finish this. It don't have to be, they can be tomorrow, and schedule you to come back on individually, so you can talk about not the Wishing Well per se, but your passion.
Okay.
Which is, with dealing with children with grief and all of those things, you with education and all of those things, and talk about that so we can share that with our audience.
Doc, what you do? Go pick you a sandwich?
He had to stand up.
No, I got some bacon, some pork chop, and I forgot I got it set on 350.
Oh no.
And I may have burned them up.
Don't burn the pork chop.
No.
Again, to our Facebook listeners, the link
Okay.
is the link.
The link,
June 10th.
no, July 10th.
July 10th. That's right. June 10th.
Yes. And the links of Crystal Lake.
Links at Crystal Lake.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful course.
It is.
It's a good course. And listen, we've been engaging in the planning because we want to dot the I's and the T's and make it a nice, smooth
Right.
outing with our supporters and people who participate. And so we work along with them because too, we want to make sure that they are on their game.
Okay.
Right.
They're ready to receive us, and because we have some very good golfers, and we have some very good business golfers, people who do wonderful things and out there and pulling for this program and others very helpful programs of services that's good for our community. It's just a good humane function activity to be involved in and engaged. So
wonderful. And so what I want to do, we don't have any stuff to give donations like that, but what I do have some, those little poker chip ball markers everybody use.
okay.
I don't have enough to because I was messing around. But I'm going to bring some of those and put them on the table. So if anybody wants to take those, and they have the logo behind us on them and the time that we come.
That's a good idea.
That's nice. That's good.
Yes. So I'll come and put those on the table, and we'll keep this going. I'm going to take the flyer. I think I have a copy of it and post it on my Facebook page, just in case, we got some people who want to come up last minute and try to register. They may see it. They may see it and try to come in there.
Yeah. And we'll get you some more too. We still have some left, So we'll
I just need the one because I'm gonna post it on my Facebook page. So I'm gonna scan it into my computer and post it up there.
Okay, that'll be great.
Right. Right. And so we thank you guys for coming on. It actually morphed into more than I thought it was going to be. So we got 2 more shows. I'll put it that way that we're going to do, because you got some great information that needs its own platform to get out there. I know that you're not doing the Bakers. You're not doing that this year, are you?
Well, we're not, because we're not sure.
We're not sure yet.
We will be July the 1st. We'll be sure.
But what we're going to do, we are planning for the 20th year anniversary. We didn't do it last year.
Right.
We would. And right now we're looking at doing it at the Rattlesnake Restaurant.
Okay.
Right off the river there.
Yes.
And we are looking at doing like a wine tasting event.
Okay.
And I've had the experience of doing it through my alumni. We did scholarship there.
Right.
And it's wonderful. It's exciting. We could host it during the day.
Yes.
And we can also, the parking is good.
Yes.
And it's just a wonderful thing. So we're looking at that to do it 1st of October, the last of September.
Okay.
And invite our supporters and guests as much as we can based on this pandemic.
Sure. So we still don't know. We
haven't set a date yet. But like she said, probably last September, sometime in October.
Okay. So we'll be on the lookout for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you do a wine tasting, have some lemonade down there. Because I don't drink wine. But she does, but I don't. So have me some lemonade down there to taste.
And then on top of that, I just like the way that we are served, and I like the information and language that's given, the Facebook and all of that. And so we'll make it real fun and happy and interesting. And if that doesn't work for us, we'll tap Wayne State University, because they have some nice
they do
private places or open.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll be on the lookout for that then, and we get that information out, and we'll share it as best we can.
Very good.
And so everybody out there listening, July 10th at the Links of Crystal Lake.
Right. Registration is at 8:00, or final registration is at 8:00, and tee off is at
9
o'clock.
9 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All our listeners got that information. So hey, go with it.
Yep. And so again, we thank you both for joining us. We thank you for sharing that information. And I'll be contacting you both so we can set up something else to tell his other stories you got to tell too.
And Damon, listen.
Well, thank you.
I'm thinking, but go ahead and let me know. I'll do it. I'll make it work around you guys' schedule too.
Okay.
All
Well,
right, then.
we're glad that you all had us on today, and I certainly have enjoyed sharing it. And I'm sure Ms. Martin has too. And thank you again for having us on.
You
And
welcome.
thanks to our listening audience.
All right.
All right.
Hey, I'm sorry you had to eat them burnt pork chops, but
Yeah, listen, that was one thing I think both our moms taught us, don't try to do too many things
Things
at
at
one
one
time.
time.
That's right.
And do it well, whatever. You do wash it.
Well, I
do it
I
well.
have to let you know before you go that I did peep at them. So I just, they didn't burn up. They got
Okay, good.
Yeah, okay.
They're okay.
Yeah, they good. They just broiled. That's all. They
Yeah,
good.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they in good shape. Well,
All right,
Okay.
Tom, you two have a
you
good
both
evening.
take care. Thank you.
Virtual
Okay.
hugs.
I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Right.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye now.
Bye-bye.